We did it, folks. We won the Copa del Rey for Villarreal. It took just one goal to beat the champions Real Madrid in the final, giving the club only their second ever major trophy. In the league though, it was only a second place finish and 23 points behind Real Madrid, who only lost and drew one game all season. And their manager Jurgen Klopp isn't going anywhere for now. So we've got to build on this team to try and even compete with them. Bit hard to do that though when there's only £23 million in the transfer budget.
Sorry. What?
Agony, our top scorer, won a few awards this season, but he isn't exactly that good, is he? Especially because my scouts found this young Argentine striker from Boca Juniors who could be a lot better and might not cost too much. You ain't gonna like this, but I'm offering out Iago to see if anybody wants to buy him. I feel like selling him allows me to bring in more players at a cheaper cost, so I'm trying to get as much as possible for him. I'm also going to offer out Svoboda as well for the same reasons. Pesic has developed much quicker, so I need to think about strengthening his support in midfield. Offers came in for Svoboda and I managed to negotiate a really good deal. This could give us a rather large wallet to bring in a few more talents. And although Svoboda rejected a move, Iago is in fact leaving. One of two midfielders I'm interested in bringing in for midfield is this Valencia midfielder Antonio Perez. Not much defensively, but a very good creative midfielder. The other is probably my preferable choice though in De La Fuente at Newcastle. More of a holding midfielder, so I put a bid in. But he wasn't even prepared to talk to us after we got a deal accepted for 35 million. So the task of closing down Real Madrid, who also won the Champions League by the way, isn't going down too well. We just need that one last trophy, the Spanish League title, to complete Glory Hunter. So I ended up going for the Valencia midfielder Antonio Perez instead, and we got the deal done. As well as the striker Manuel Caballo from Boca. I genuinely think he could challenge Agony this season at just 11.5 million. Next through the door was a Croatian striker who I believe will be better as a number 10 in Ivor Straki. Again, only costing around £12 million from Zagreb after scoring 12 goals last season. Although that did leave us in a predicament in our maximum squad salary being too high to register all of the players. It seemed like we didn't have enough players though when the first fixture came around, and we had 3 injuries and 2 suspensions to the first team players, and we were forced to fill the subs bench with youngsters. That didn't stop us from playing some beautiful football against Celta Vigo in the opening day, and Agony was showing off why he is still our number 1 guy up front for now. He even got the second to close the game out, and at this point both clubs were down to 10 men with a red card each, which only opened more space on the pitch for us to exploit and score a third. We then rejected a bid from Spurs for our defender we signed last year in Garitano. He also put in a man of the match performance in the next match away to Osasuna, but was unable to prevent them from scoring an equaliser. And the set piece police will be back in the comment section as he scores 2 against Sevilla in the last game of the summer. But chill out, you bunch of Karens. We won 6-0 and already scored 3 goals before Garitano's first. We are of course already trailing Real Madrid, however. But the Champions League fixtures are in, and it feels like we play Manchester City and Chelsea every single season at this point. Despite signing the Argentine striker, I stuck by Agony as a starter because he just kept scoring goals. Although that goal against Atletico Madrid came in a 3-2 defeat, where we also went down to 9 men with 2 red cards. Didn't matter what the competition was though, Agony just kept scoring. And even when he didn't, and played bad, we still won so comfortably. And then he'd come back the next game and score some more goals, and he just seemed to always be in the right place at the right time, and he banged in a hat-trick in just 15 minutes, whilst also picking up a 4th in second half. He needed a rest though in the Champions League game, and we lost to Chelsea. So although we aren't quite cutting it at the start of the season, it definitely isn't down to our main striker from last season. I can't pinpoint what it is though. Unfortunately, we took another defeat in the Champions League to Manchester City, our other former club, but again, we won that competition twice already. And our main focus is on the league and our pursuit of Real Madrid, and we continue to keep winning games. And then I spoke too soon and completely jinxed us. And with Real Madrid and Barcelona as our first 2 games in November, we end October with 2 defeats in the league. Also, now 4 points behind Real Madrid, who have a game in hand on us as well. But it only took 7 minutes for Real to break us down and open the scoring through Skibicki. Real stayed ahead until we broke down the right wing, and the ball fell to Malmquist, who was fast enough to react and slot in an equaliser. But it wasn't our day at the Bernabeu, and the champions took the 3 points in the second half. But I don't think even Jurgen Klopp could predict the result of the next match against Barcelona. And to give you an idea, so maybe you'd like to have a guess before I show you, Agony scored 2 goals in the first half alone, and that was just half the goals he scored on this day. Because we battered Barcelona 7-0, which helped us transform our little mini bad spell and turn things around, beating Napoli and Bilbao as well. We are now 10 points off the champions though, which is annoying. But the run kept going and we kept winning through and into December, whilst also giving starts to Caballo more as he began to become more unhappy about his playtime, but he was also scoring goals. As was the Croatian striker who got the only goal against Valencia, as well as the opening goal against Arsenal in the Champions League, which was beautifully assisted by Albors, who won man of the match in a 4-0 win against the North London team. Agony picked up a small injury and Caballo then stepped up again and scored 2 goals in a 4-0 win against Granada around Christmas. And a win against Sociedad makes it 8 wins on the bounce. But it is back-to-back Ballon d'Ors for our friend Francisco, who at 28 is now worth over £250 million, 200 million more than I paid for him 8 seasons ago. More bids keep coming in for Svoboda, but he keeps refusing the contracts and deciding to stay. And we don't exactly have the money to improve the team this January without selling any players. Our winning run came to an end though in the league after a 2-0 defeat away to Celta Vigo, and we somehow got smacked up 7-2 by Galatasaray in the Champions League. But we won our last league phase game 3-0 against Slavia Prague, with Caballo scoring the first, only putting us in 11th place and meaning we have to play in the playoffs to progress. Real Madrid also shown weakness in January and they drew a few games, meaning even though we lost to Celta, we closed the gap on the champions down to just 4 points. Back-to-back Copa del Rey wins puts us in another semi-final. And with Real Madrid out of the competition, we are favourites to win it once again. We crashed out of the Champions League though after losing 3-0 to Everton in the first leg alone, and only being able to grab a draw at home, but hey, at least we keep winning in the league. And Agony was back scoring some fantastic goals as well. Madrid just weren't dropping any points though, and with a game in hand we are 8 points behind going into March, which was the month where Bilbao almost knocked us out the Copa del Rey in the semi-finals if it wasn't for an excellent comeback starting with a very bizarre own goal, and followed by 2 goals from Garitano off the back of Malquist's exceptional corners. And as we put ourselves into the Copa del Rey final, Barcelona had to overcome a 2-goal deficit if they wanted to meet us there. Svoboda cost us a goal within 5 minutes at home to Las Palmas, but let's just say he really owes Caballo a beer or 2 after the match, because that guy was insane and saved Svoboda's blushes, scoring 5 goals, 4 of which were still in the first half, and prevented us from dropping any silly points. We ended up defeating Las Palmas comfortably 5-1. And with more wins, a game against Betis was very much must win to keep our title hopes intact, as we once again faced Barcelona and Real Madrid in back-to-back games. After conceding an equaliser in the 92nd minute, Agony was our hero once again, scoring a winner in the 94th. Still 8 points behind, but with 2 games in hand and Real Madrid up soon, we could still overtake them with 3 wins. Barcelona also came back and won 3-0 against Sociedad to face us in this month's cup final. But what was a good sign was when we faced them in the league beforehand and Ramos gave us the lead going into half-time. The second half was much more lively and we scored right after the break, only for Barcelona to score from the penalty spot. Caballo was set free just 5 minutes later though and restored our 2-goal lead, before Barcelona scored their second from De La Fuente, the player who rejected us from Newcastle. But we got the last laugh when Ramos scored a very late 4th in this epic 4-2 win, giving us great confidence going into the Real Madrid game, and Caballo even gave us the advantage. But this is a much tighter game. Real scored an equaliser and we only got a point. It only took 1 goal to beat Atletico Madrid in the next game through Antonio Perez. And the gap remains 5 points with a game in hand to try to put the pressure on the league title with just 5 games to go. It's not as important as last season, but we once again lifted the Copa del Rey with a fantastic win against Barcelona, scoring 2 rather late goals to be fair, without letting them even find our net at all. And we kept winning with 2 more league 3 points with 4 games to go. Real Madrid still kept winning as well though, and the gap is once again 5 points. That was until we defeated Tenerife 4-0, while Real Madrid lost to Real Betis. And all of a sudden, a win in our game in hand puts us top of the league, which is exactly what we did, beating Getafe 4-0, and Gonzalo Ramos was rolling back the years, scoring a hat-trick with Malquist picking up the first goal after just 10 minutes on the clock. Could we keep this up and win the league? No, because we lost 3-1 to Espanyol. And of course, Real Madrid won another game, putting us 2 points behind with the final fixture to be played, and Real at home to Cadiz while we travel away to Granada. We did all we could, and ironically, Svoboda scored the only goal of our final fixture, but Jurgen Klopp and his Real Madrid side got the job done, winning 2-1 and secured another league title. And that's just truly heartbreaking, getting that close to completing it all.